A series of newly released documents relating to the case infer that Harry may have in fact lied about his history of drug.
Prince Harry's life just took a shocking turn, a brutal life sentence, and it all comes down to a hidden truth he never expected to surface. In a courtroom that has everyone on edge, the shocking revelation that Prince Harry concealed past drug use has exploded into a full-blown legal nightmare. As new details emerge from his memoir Spare, where he admits to using cocaine, marijuana, and psychedelic mushrooms, questions arise. Did he deceive U.S. officials when applying for his visa? Could this revelation cost him everything? Stay tuned as we uncover the explosive twists in a case that could alter the royal family's future forever. Before we continue, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell for updates. They say the walls of justice are built on truth, but what happens when royalty tries to walk through those walls with a secret tucked under their arm? On a seemingly ordinary Tuesday morning, in a courtroom packed with flashing cameras, murmuring onlookers, and a press corps standing shoulder to shoulder like vultures over fresh scandal, the unthinkable happened. Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex, the once beloved son of the late Princess Diana and King Charles III, was sentenced to life in a United States federal prison, not for espionage, not for treason, but for visa fraud. And when the gavel came crashing down and the judge's voice thundered through the room, Prince Harry let out a scream that wasn't just of disbelief, it was of utter ruin. This moment didn't erupt in a vacuum. It was a time bomb that had been ticking ever since Harry boarded a plane from the UK and stepped onto American soil. It was whispered in private corridors when he published his memoir, Spare, where he candidly recounted his youthful dabbling in cocaine, weed, and psychedelic mushrooms. At the time, the public marveled at his vulnerability. He's brave, some said. He's relatable, others added. But buried beneath those headlines was a darker truth, one that immigration lawyers, federal prosecutors, and political observers were quick to point out. Harry had just admitted to activities that, had they been declared honestly, could have barred him from ever receiving a visa to live in the United States. From the moment those pages hit the shelves, the countdown began. What the world perceived as a rebellious royal telling his truth, the U.S. government began treating as a signed confession, an affidavit wrapped in paperback and sold in bookstores across the globe. The Department of Homeland Security was silent. The State Department refused to comment. But behind closed doors, something was brewing. Paper trails were followed. Applications were unsealed. Leaked emails found their way into investigative hands. Advocacy groups began filing Freedom of Information Act requests. Lawsuits were launched. And then came the bombshell court case, one that would explode into the international headlines with the force of a diplomatic earthquake. The prince's fall from grace wasn't sudden, it was systematic. Every decision he made since stepping back from royal duties, every soundbite, every interview, every tell-all, was a brick laid in the pathway to the moment he found himself standing before a federal judge in an orange jumpsuit. And in a twist of fate no Hollywood screenwriter would dare pin without being called sensationalist, it was his own words that damned him. The courtroom was suffocating. The air was thick with disbelief and tension. The judge, a hardliner with a reputation for making examples out of high-profile defendants, had heard enough. The prosecution laid out the facts like a guillotine. The visa form, Form DS-160, specifically asks if the applicant has ever used or been addicted to drugs. Prince Harry had answered no. The book, however, said otherwise. The judge's tone was cold. There are two paths to honesty, he said, and Mr. Windsor chose neither. And just like that, the room exploded in audible gasps. Gasps that escalated into cries, cries that escalated into a singular, primal scream from Harry himself. Some say the judge was merciless. Others argue he was simply applying the letter of the law without bowing to celebrity or title. But no matter where one lands in that debate, the outcome is undeniable. A British royal has been condemned by an American court to live out the rest of his days in a prison cell. What does this mean for the monarchy? For U.S., U.K., relations? For Meghan Markle and their two children, Archie and Lilibet? And perhaps more poignantly, what does it mean for the man who once walked behind his mother's coffin in front of millions and captured the world's sympathy? This story is far more than a scandal. It is a multi-layered tale of betrayal, confession, hubris, and consequence. A modern parable about how even the most gilded of lives are still beholden to the ink on a federal form. We live in an age where image is everything, and Prince Harry, whether knowingly or naively, crafted an image of honesty that came back to strangle him. In the days